So next up I've got the green haze caddis. This is one of my preferred caddis patterns, especially for June, July, even August, September. I've caught fish on caddis. I usually fish just two patterns for the pupa. I fish this one and Brian Chan's Kamloops sedge pupa. And this one was sort of modeled after that one. And I've done very well on it. In fact, one of my first trips back when I first started fly fishing, it was around, well, up in the interior, around 2005. I was up there with my dad and up in 100 Mile, and I went to Fawn Lake when it was good, back when it was really good. And I had about 4 or 5 of the Chan's Kamloops sedge pupa with me, and proceeded to break off all 5 in a row because I only had like 6-pound test on, needed 8-pound, so taught me a valuable lesson. Went to the fly shop thinking I could just pick one up, no problem, and yeah, no, that there was none at the fly shop, so I really wished I would have had some more because they weren't taking anything else, but they sure wanted that one. So anyways, I've just started, I'm using some maroon thread. That's kind of a little homage to Deck Hogan, who I took a fly tying course with. He ties a lot of his steelhead flies with maroon thread. Next I'm going to do the ribbing material, which is just a fluorescent chartreuse floss, or you could use wire. I've used wire in the past. I'm trying out the floss this time. I'm just going to try tying it to the top. And it has a little green butt on it, this fly, so I'm just going to wrap the butt up first. The floss definitely makes that part of it easier than the wire. I'm going to go over it a couple of times. That's the little chartreuse hot spot. The trout really like that color. I mean, orange too is really good for a hot spot. Pink, but there's something about chartreuse. Fish just love that color. Doesn't matter, salmon too. Next, I'm going to take some natural pheasant tail, just tie it in for the body, take a little bit of cobbler's wax, and I've got some peacock herl stuck in it. Apply it to my thread, like so. Probably going to have to do this twice, maybe 3 times on a fly this size. This is quite a big one. I'm just going to wind it right back to where that butt starts. Over top. Not get too carried away because I know I'm going to have to tie in 2 bundles. You can use some crazy glue as well, super glue or something, just to hold it on there a little bit better. It is quite a delicate fiber to work with, but you just can't beat the natural iridescence of it. So I'm probably only going to get about 4 here. Just use my thumb to hold that in place. I'll bring this around, tie that off. Now the one thing with pheasant tail, when you're tying it off, you make sure you do a whip finish, because it just has, like magic, this wonderful way of unraveling. So I always whip finish before I clip it off. Or at least I try to remember. Lost many a fly that way. And I'm just going to go through the butt ends just to make sure. Now I'm going to take a second clump. Just trim the ends flush. Use some wax again. Tie these in. Just go to the 2/3 point of the hook where I'm going to start my thorax. And I meant to say I took about 8 to 10 for this size fly. It's not a super thick body. And just wind my thread forward and back. pull in a whip finish. And now just clip that. Now I'm going to run my thread through those cut ends again. Just make sure. Build myself a nice little thorax there. So the best way I fish this is usually on a type 3, I would say, or on a type 5 or to 7, depending on the depth of the water. Now I'm just taking my rib and winding it backwards. Oh, hang on. I'm going the wrong way. I wound my pheasant tail backwards, so I'm actually going to take this and wind it the opposite way, which will hold it stronger. Floss in there. Just going to bring my thread back to meet my floss. Like so. Tie that down. Lock it down. Snip that off. I'm going to put another, just a whip finish in there for now. Next, I'm going to take my thorax material. And for that I've got peacock herl, and I prefer the eye of the peacock. I'm going to take about 3 fibers, snip the ends, flash the fragile ends, wax my thread again, tie these in, leave enough room for my head and my hackle. And now I'm going to build a nice bushy thorax. Can't beat the natural iridescence of both these materials, both pheasant tail and peacock herl. 2 of my favorite materials for sure. And tire. Give that a good whip finish. Don't want it coming undone. Seem a little excessive until you have your flag fall apart. Now I'm going to take a grouse feather that my buddy gave me. Thank you. You know who you are if you're watching this. I'm not going to say his name or everybody's going to want these beautiful feathers. But yeah, I really appreciate it. I like using the grouse feather on this fly. I just like the modeling of it. For some reason it's been successful. So here's the one I'm using here. Like so. I'm just going to, I take it and I just measure back to make sure, you know, where it's going to come back to. I don't want it to go right to the very back. And it's got quite a bit of hackle on it, so I'm going to just separate the tip here, clip that into a little triangle I like to call an anchor, wax my thread really well on both sides. This is where I really do prefer doing the underside of my thread as well, and then winding it onto the hook when I'm tying down a hackle like this. I just tie that in. Such strong thin thread, you know, you can take extra wraps. You don't have to stick yourself to 3 wraps, particularly if you're new to fly tying. It depends on what I'm tying. I mean, you know, yeah, if I'm trying to be really precise and stuff, chironomids or something, I'll be aware of my wraps. But when I'm tying in a hackle like that on a big fly like this, you know what? Why risk losing your feather? So I'm just going to start winding this and trying to sweep it back. Pretty much going to take about 2.5 turns. Like I said, I like lots of hackle in this fly. Just tie that down. Now I'm just going to turn it and snip my feather out of there, close as I can. Just going to push these back and sweep them back with my fingers, go over top. A little straggler there, just go over top of it. I'm going to build a nice burgundy head on this fly. So. And give it a whip finish. I like to do 2. that nice and tight. Snip your thread off. And then you can use some super glue, or I've got some Raid Zap super thin, but I'm not sure where my light is. I think it's charging, so I'm just going to use some super glue. Just apply it to the head. Try not to get it in the head. This fly's done extremely well in the spring and the fall. And there you have it. That's green haze.